From 2002 through 2007, Universal Pictures adopted the Jason Bourne books written by American-based author Robert Ludlum, originally published from 1980 through 1990, as the original trilogy of films starred Matt Damon as the character of Jason Bourne. The three films helped to promote Matt Damon as one of the most well-known male actors of the early 2000s, and the premise of the films, in terms of plot, acting, and premise, were praised by both film critics as well as theater audiences. However, executives at Universal Pictures originally intended for the Bourne Ultimatum to be the final film in this series to reflect the original trilogy of the books, but eventually another film would have been developed, as it naturally was, due to Jason Bourne being one of the most recognizable characters in American film from the early 2000s. At the time, Matt Damon's views on what could possibly be done with the Bourne films in terms of the franchise were somewhat neutral. He publicly made opinions stating that he didn't know what else in terms of facts or stories could be done for the franchise in terms of scenarios to put theoretically Jason Bourne into. Eventually, key officials within the Bourne films left the proposed project, and Matt Damon left the project as well. Executives had also mentioned public opinion on the fact that the Bourne films were that the role had been affiliated with Matt Damon for nearly a decade as mentioned, and that the affiliation of who Jason Bourne was in terms of a character would not necessarily transfer to another actor who would in theory played Jason Bourne for the new film at the time. But in 2012, the Bourne Legacy was released, and unlike the previous three films that were mostly faithful to the novels in terms of the Bourne Legacy, the film wasn't similar to the novel at all. The film actually featured an original character by the name of Aaron Cross, played by Jeremy Renner, with as well most of the original story, distantly related to the previous Jason Bourne films in order to connect the custom character of Aaron Cross into the Jason Bourne film franchise. Upon its release, as well as the sudden introduction of a new character into the Bourne franchise, while some were open-minded to the concept of a new character in the Bourne films, others questioned why a new character could or should take over the Jason Bourne premise. Theorists made further claims that due to Marvel Studios' The Avengers being released a matter of months previously, Universal Studios assumed that audiences would have been attracted to the Bourne Legacy to see Renner's performance as Aaron Cross. Due to the mixed reactions to the film, there were originally plans for an Aaron Cross sequel within the Bourne franchise, though the concepts for another feature film had been in theoretical conceptual stages since 2013, as plans for another Aaron Cross sequel were slightly implemented with the release date of 2015. However, the sequel was pushed back and eventually put on hold in favor of a Jason Bourne related sequel. In 2016, another Matt Damon film featuring Jason Bourne returned, thus making the chances of Aaron Cross's return even more unlikely. Despite the fact that this Jason Bourne film also did poorly, in March of 2017, Matt Damon publicly made comments that the character of Aaron Cross was most likely dead, and that film audiences wasn't interested with the character and that he would not return for future films. A character can be overrated yet hated because film audiences were unexpectedly given a new character to an old franchise. When the new character wasn't wanted, they were quickly forgotten.